The House of Representatives formally received from the Department of Budget and Management the proposed 2026 national budget worth 6.793 trillion pesos, setting the stage for deliberations at the committee level. During a program on Wednesday, August 13, House officials led by Speaker Martin Romualdez received the National Expenditure Program for 2026. According to a briefer from the DBM, the largest chunk of the proposed budget will go to the Department of Education at 928.5 billion pesos. Public Works follows at 881.3 billion pesos and then Health at 320.5 billion pesos. The education sector is said to be the biggest gainer in the proposed 2026 budget. The overall budget for education was increased to 1.2 trillion pesos, up from 1 trillion pesos in 2025. If enacted as is, the proposed 1.2 trillion budget for the education sector could meet the United Nations recommendation to allot 46% of the country's gross domestic product to education. This budget includes the allocation for DepEd, state universities and colleges, the Commission on Higher Education, and the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority. Last year, the education sector bore the brunt of last-minute realignments from the Bicameral Conference Committee, with DepEd losing a staggering 12 billion pesos and state universities and colleges experiencing a 14.5 billion peso cut. President Bongbong Marcos earlier warned Congress that he would not sign any general appropriations bill that is not aligned with the National Expenditure Program, even if it means reenacting the 2025 budget. The State Weather Bureau says Typhoon Gorio intensified and is set to make landfall over southern Taiwan. In its 11 a.m. bulletin on Wednesday, August 13, Pag-asa says Gorio was spotted some 160 kilometers north of Itbayat, Batanes. It packs maximum sustained winds of 155 kilometers per hour and gustiness of up to 215 kilometers per hour. Tropical cyclone wind signal number 2 remains hoisted over Itbayat, Batanes, where minor to moderate impacts to life and property are expected. The rest of Batanes is under signal number 1, where winds may bring minimal to minor threats. Heavy rainfall is also forecast over Batanes until Thursday, August 14. The Weather Bureau warns of possible flooding and landslides due to the downpour. According to Pag-asa, Gorio is moving westward at 25 kilometers per hour. It is forecast to move generally west-northwestward before making landfall over the eastern coast of southern Taiwan. Gorio is expected to leave the Philippine area of responsibility by Wednesday afternoon or evening. Senate Minority Leader Tito Sotto believes there is no compelling reason yet to amend the 1987 Constitution unless it is amended by the Supreme Court. In a message to reporters on Wednesday, August 13, Sotto says he will wait for the result of the motion for reconsideration before he decides to support amendments to the Charter or not. Sotto is referring to the motion for reconsideration pending before the Supreme Court on its decision declaring the impeachment complaint against Vice President Sara Duterte as unconstitutional. The Supreme Court said the complaint against Duterte violated the one-year rule on filing impeachment cases. But the House of Representatives appealed this decision, calling it a misreading of facts and a retroactive imposition of new rules. Pending the appeal at the Supreme Court, the Senate decided on August 6 to archive the impeachment case against Duterte. In pushing for charter change through a constitutional convention, House Deputy Speaker Ronaldo Puno cited as an example how a single ambiguous word can become the justification for what he described as legislative inaction, procedural manipulation, or the loss of accountability itself. Senate Committee on Constitutional Amendments Chair Kiko Pangilinan withheld his comment on the fresh Chacha talks in the House until the issue is brought before his panel. Several Chacha measures have already been filed in the Senate at the start of the 20th Congress. Senator Kiko Pangilinan is the new chairman of the Senate Committee on Constitutional Amendments and Revision of Codes, replacing Senator Robin Padilla. Pangilinan was elected as the new chair during the plenary session on Tuesday, August 12. In a statement, Pangilinan says he will guarantee a consultative and transparent process in any proposed changes to the Philippine Constitution. He says the Constitution belongs to the Filipino people. He emphasizes that any move to change charter should be anchored on the public's aspirations and welfare. Pangilinan vows to conduct a series of public consultations for input from constitutional experts, civil society representatives, business groups, local government units, and ordinary citizens. The senator hopes the consultations will help in understanding public sentiments on charter change. He also expects the consultations to let the public know the mechanisms for amending the charter and its political and social implications. Pangilinan replaces Padilla, who is rumored to head the Chamber's panel on ethics. Malacanang earlier said President Bongbong Marcos would not oppose amendments to the Constitution if they would close any loopholes in the provisions.